Fox Business Alert, take a look at cryptos. They are retreating. We now have Bitcoin down about 4.5%, Ethereum down 3.4%, and you can see Litecoin, XRP, there's red on the screen here. This as customers of bankrupt lender Voyager Digital continue to gnash their teeth, unable to pull their holdings out. Now, a ray of hope over the weekend in the form of a rescue bid from crypto billionaire and FTX founder Sam Bankman-Fried was dashed when Voyager soundly rejected FTX's proposal to buy all Voyager's digital assets and crypto loans. Voyager's lawyers smacked down the offer from Sam Bankman-Fried, calling it a, quote, lowball bid dressed up as a white knight rescue. As we await a possible counteroffer, maybe by FTX in partnership with Alameda Ventures, what does the man who counts both FTX and Voyager as clients think of the situation right now? Joining us now in a Fox Business exclusive, Fireblocks CEO Michael Shaulov. Michael, great to have you here. You know, you're a very important voice here, not just because you've worked with both, but Fireblocks is managing to survive and thrive during this crypto winter. But let's begin with this. From what you know about FTX's offer, and that's kind of a lot because they made it very public, and that's part of the reason Voyager is upset. Do you see it as a legitimate lifeline or somewhat opportunistic?
I mean, I think that right now, that there are a lot of turbulences in the ecosystem, and there are a lot of folks similar to Voyager that are in a difficult position. I think that what Sam is doing and what FTX is doing is really using the majority of the dry power they have, right, to rescue and save the situation, given the fact that there is no backstop in the sense of a government, right, that will try and backstop the situation. So it has to be backstopped by private investors, and therefore I think some of those offers, potentially people will not like them, but eventually it needs to be backstopped somehow.
I suspect that Voyager's customers are getting louder in their complaint about them maybe, and I don't know, but maybe not having grabbed the Sam Bankman-Fried lifeline, because in essence what he was offering is that he would be able to, if it worked out the way he says it would, basically have an advance. He would be able to give them an advance on their bankruptcy claims so they don't have to wait to go through bankruptcy court and finally get Voyager to reopen the coffers and let some of that money out. Do you think that Bankman-Fried is in a position to maybe sweeten his offer or alter it to make it more appealing to Voyager?
Yeah, look, I mean, I'm not sure that I know exactly where those two parties stand, right? But I do think that guaranteeing the best outcome for the retail investors, right, in those cases, is probably the top priority for everyone right now. And whenever the offers are on the table, I guess they all need to be considered to try and help the retail investors that were sort of trusting those platforms and investing through them.
Fireblocks deals with a lot of these companies. Now, Celsius is another one that just declared bankruptcy. A lot of these are Chapter 11, which means that they are hoping to restructure. But this really brings up the issue of counterparty risk. We have lately seen some serious issues, Three Arrows, Terra Luna, big disasters across the board. And sure, maybe this is just the fact that all emerging sectors see companies initially sprout up like weeds, and then many of them die on the vine. But what does this say about the future of how companies like yours deal with counterparty risk and prepare for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we were basically advocating that counterparty risk need to be taken much more seriously in this space for a long period of time. And one of the key things that Fireblocks brings to the table is the fact that we give institutions the ability to sort of operate in what we call direct custody, right? So when people use our infrastructure, they actually own the assets and they don't have counterparty risk to Fireblocks. And also we brought a lot of tools to the market which helps them with counterparty risk between two parties when they're doing trading or lending activities, right? So a lot of those tools that were, say, invented after a few, pretty major crises in the traditional space, have been sort of ported to crypto, but they were not used in a very meaningful way during this crisis. a good example is actually Three Arrows, right? That was in the epicenter of it, and the amount of people that landed to Three Arrows without having any visibility to how those funds are being used. I think, they got caught up in a pretty nasty situation.
Yeah. Can I just finish by asking you, are we close to the crypto winter being over at this point? The shakeout, because that's what Sam Bankman-Fried is indicating.
Yeah, I think that the shakeout, or at least the shakeout from the recent events on the back of Terra and probably Three Arrows are probably, I would assume they're probably toward the end. I think that there are still a lot of room to build to get out of this situation. And I think that a lot of companies are currently investing seriously in building and improving the offering that they have. This is essentially what we are doing. We're taking the time to really invest in the infrastructure, make sure that we moving into new areas such as Web3, payments, and so on. So that's where people are focusing at the moment.
Well, your crypto business and your wallet is certainly attractive to some legacy names like BNP Paribas. You just landed that deal to provide everything from tokenization to hot wallets to them. So I think that says a lot about maybe major financial institutions, not at least some of them, being entirely frightened off by the current situation. Michael, great to see you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Michael Shaulov of Fireblocks.